Okay, notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas will be held on Thursday, December 14th, 2023 at 6:30 PM at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, where a quorum of the City Council will be present. All agenda items are subject to action. You can join the meeting at Zoom as provided in the agenda. The public will be permitted to offer public comments as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the city secretary in person at least 15 minutes in advance of the meeting, or by emailing or calling the city secretary at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting. Written comments received at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting will be provided to the city council for consideration. Madam Secretary, may I have a call to order?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado here. I never got the chance to do the lines.
Oh, fine.
Alderman Phillips.
Here.
Alderman Poppendorfer.
Here.
Alderman Martino.
Here.
Alderwoman Martinez is absent. You do have a city secretary and an attorney, and you do have a quorum.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, citizens to be heard. Persons wishing to speak may sign up with the city secretary in the time and manner as indicated above. The time is provided for citizens to address the city council on issues and concerns related to the city of Sandy Oaks. Please note that the Texas Open Meeting Act prohibits the city council from responding, commenting, or discussing items of topics during this portion of the meeting that are not included on the agenda. The city council appreciates hearing from the citizens, and your thoughts and questions are valued. However, civility and a sense of decorum will be strictly followed. All speakers must address their comments to the city council. Speakers shall refrain from public criticism of members of the city council that is prohibited by law. This item will be open for up to 30 minutes with 3 minutes to each speaker. One person may speak on behalf of a group. Up to 3 people may register on behalf of the group in order for the spokesperson to be allotted up to 9 minutes to speak. If there are more than 10 speakers, each will be given 2 minutes or 6 minutes for a group spokesperson. At this time, we do have 2 people signed up. If we want to begin with Mr. David Tremblay, he is speaking to agenda item 8C.
Can I wait until you get to that item on the agenda?
Yeah, okay, that's fine. And then, so we will then move on to agenda item, or rather, we will move on to Mr. Stephen Gruber, speaking to agenda item 10D. Do you want to speak right now, sir?
Can I wait till then, please?
Yeah, we will go ahead and wait. All right. Okay, so moving on to item 4, mayor and administrator announcements. Only really announcements I have is for those that are on the World Wide Web and those that are in person, just have a happy holidays, be safe, have a happy new year. We hope to see you back next year. And just, we appreciate everything that you've done for not only for the city, but for your neighbor, because that's ultimately what we are trying to do, right, is be for the benefits of all our neighbors, all our community. So thank you for those that are in attendance. Thank you for those that are listening. And again, happy holidays and have a happy new year. All right. So moving on to item number 5, the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of the items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Please take a moment to review your consent agenda.
If there's no discussion, I move that if there is no discussion,
Give me just a second more.
okay,
Okay, that's the second.
no discussion, I move that we accept the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman Rapino and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado to accept the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes. Thank you. All right, financial report. Income and expenses for October and November will be reported by City Secretary Catherine Yelton with possible discussion and or action. Madam Secretary, you have the floor.
Thank you. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you November's. Well, I'll give you October's general fund because November, or in October, November, the ARPA and the TDA funds didn't change. So I'll give you those in November. So for October, the beginning balance of the general fund was $102,786.78. We did have checks and payments of $333,519.72. Okay, yeah, checks and payments. Deposits and credits were $279,746.39, leaving an ending balance of $49,013.45. So that was for October general. November now, the general fund beginning a balance as of November 1st, is $49,013.45. We had checks and payments of $75,900.22. Deposits and credits of $132,472.28, leaving an ending balance of let me start that over again. $105,585.50. Then the ARPA fund, beginning balance and ending balance, as there were no transactions, of $490,170.28. TDA grant, same thing for November, beginning and ending balance due to no transactions of $51,970.
The reason why I see it's two different invoices, but for JDL Solutions, why there's two on the same day?
Because he did not send me an invoice until the next month and sent me two. I wrote two separate checks to coincide with two separate invoices.
Understood. Okay. Any questions? Okay, then let's move it right along.
Which
Delete-
is
We need a,
Doing a motion?
I move that we accept the financial report as stated.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman Rapino and a second from Alderman Fillinger to accept the financial report as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. All right, moving on. Police Department, updates and announcements from Chief Lopez with possible discussion and or action. Chief, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We posted for the position for the vacancy for the police officer position, so we're still receiving applications again. So nothing to be happy about, but they are coming in. So the hiring standards and expectations are still there as well. So, but other than that, nothing else to report.
Thank you. All right, so moving on to the presentation of your monthly report. Chief Lopez, you have the floor.
So beginning, so we were a month behind, so we're gonna start with October. At the top, as you can see, we're coming to the end of the year, so you'll see the totals. Obviously, December's not, we're in the month of December, so that total's not gonna be on there. But as you can see, by looking at the totals, we've been really busy this year. So start with October. We had 147 court defendants, 77 cases. Moving down to traffic stops, we had 142 traffic stops. 156 citations were written with 70 warnings given. Call for service to myself was 2. Call for service for corporal was 16, and Officer Maldonado was 45, and the other officer was at 39. For the month of October, we had 102 calls for service for that month. So very, very busy for October. So moving down, the rest of the individuals was 2. 1 call for service for assist other agency, 8 calls for assist other law enforcement agency, that would be Bear County. Moving down to, we had 4 assist EMS, 1 911 hang up, 1 alarm business holdup, 2 alarm residences, and animal cruelty and neglect calls for service. And then we had 3 assault reports, 1 assist public, 2 vehicle burglaries, 3 civil matters, 1 crash injury, 1 crash report, and 1 criminal trespass was issued. 5 citations were issued for city ordinance violation, trash and garbage. And moving down to city ordinance violations, illegal burning. 1, 2 citations were issued for commercial vehicles, and 12 citations were issued for loose dogs. And I believe that pig is gone. 1 damaged property. And then we had 3 disturbance in progress, 2 noise disturbances, 1 disturbance shots heard, 6 disturbance verbal, 2 emergency detentions, 3 fire structures, 1 harassment verbal telephone, 11 calls for information, 2 injured sick calls, 2 missing person juvenile, 1 narcotics loss, 1 reckless driver, 2 recovered vehicles, 1 runaway. Then we had 3 suspicious person calls, 1 suspicious vehicle, 1 theft ID, and 1 theft of vehicle, 2 traffic hazard violations, and 4 welfare checks, and 4 towed vehicles. If we look at for the rest for October, 1 traffic and 1 assault injury to elderly. Any questions for October?
You know,
Moving towards November, we had 199 court defendants, 205 cases, 107 traffic stops. 107 traffic stops, 127 citations were written, 57 warnings. Myself, called for service 4, corporal was at 28, Officer Maldonado was at 14. Rest of the individuals was 4. 2 assist other law enforcement, Bear County was 2, assist Bear County Fire was 2, 2 assist EMS, 1 alarm business, 1 medical call, 1 animal cop, 1 animal cow, 4 animal dogs loose calls. 4 assault reports were taken, 1 vehicle burglary, 1 civil matter custody visitation, 2 civil matters, 2 city ordinance violations written for junk vehicles, 1 for recreational vehicle as well, 1 for mobile home skirting, 8 citations were issued for loose dogs, 1 disturbance family, 2 fire structures, 8 information reports, 1 narcotics laws, 1 reckless driver, 1 runaway. And then we had 1 suspicious person call, 1 suspicious vehicle, 1 telephone harassment, 1 theft, 1 theft ID, 4 welfare checks, and 1 DOA. And then for November, we had 4 arrests. Moving back to October, 1 was a resident, 1 was a non-resident. For November, we had 3 residents that were arrested, and we had 1 non-resident. As you can tell, assault bodily injury, theft, to 700 was a county warrant. possession of a controlled substance and an out of county warrant for human trafficking.
So my only question is, if you look at for the calls for service for Officer 987, they're pretty significant numbers, and I think August is probably the fluke because that's when they first rolled on. I think we're missing out a lot of calls because it is the most active time. And if you think about there's 20 business days in a week for Officer 985, or 20 working days in a calendar month for Officer 985, and he's averaging 14. I mean, that's less than one a call a day, right? So I understand November is a pretty heavy month. So I mean, that's still a little bit less than one a day, or a little bit more than one a day.
Mhm.
Is there any way we can, I don't know, roll some of their time down towards the shift that 987 is no longer reporting to? I mean, it's not, I don't want to punish anybody, but we are missing out a lot of service for our people and relying on Bear County. So, or do I not understand the numbers right? Does this 39 calls for Officer 987 include Bear County taking calls?
No, those are our calls within our jurisdiction in Savvy
Okay.
Oaks. So the reason Casas had 39 is because he was still currently on probation
Mhm.
during that time. So Officer Corporal Castillo was riding with him as well, and that's why he was taking a lot of those calls.
Yeah, but then if you look at Officer 986 in that same time frame, that same month, he had 45. So
Mhm.
you would expect to see, in that example, 986 have 10, and then 987 have 50, right? So because he's forced to take all the calls during that time frame. Now, were they overlapping shifts or were they running hand in hand?
For October, you had Corporal and Officer Casas at that time on the same shift.
On the same shift.
Yes, that's one.
So I mean, that's a lot of activity, right? That's over 80 calls there
Mhm.
between those two on that one shift, right? Okay,
2 to 10 shift is the most busiest shift.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming home, especially on the weekends, civil matters, just everything. 2 to 10 shift is the busiest shift.
and I mean, I'm just seeing, and there are months where the first shift is heavy, right? If you look back to July and
Mhm.
June and August, and really all those other months are pretty consistent, but then you see September and October, I mean, it drops significantly.
Mhm.
I get it, November, it picks up, but
I get what you're saying. You're saying that if the calls, like you mentioned, the shift 2 to 10 is the busiest and we don't have any coverage at this time.
Right.
We should have coverage.
I think so. Now,
More
granted,
so than
we-
the other two shifts.
well,
I mean.
yeah,
like overall.
But to be fair, right, like we do have Bear County that is picking up those calls, right?
Right.
So it's not that the city is without,
That's empty.
right? It's just that we're not providing where we can.
Right.
Because we're assigned to other shifts. Now, I don't know how we do it, right? But can we alternate weeks, right? Where it's one week,
Somebody covers that.
one week it's 2 to 10, the next week it's back to your, 8 to 5 or whatever it is. Because I mean, I feel like we're passing up a big opportunity to respond to our citizens by not having that coverage.
Which coverage?
Whatever 987 was covering.
He was during that time, he wasn't left alone very much during that time. So there were those calls.
So it's still covered then
Yeah,
by
it's still covered.
986. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean. Corporals,
Okay, so the 14, so the
What you're looking at, Mr. Mayor. We look at August, September and October. You'll see the corporals, it looks like he was not busy, but in fact, he was in the same vehicle with the probationary officer. So.
Okay.
There was essentially during the training period, that they're both together. So the corporals numbers went down for those 3 months. Because he had the probationary officer doing the interviews, doing the write-ups and all of that. if you look through the rest of the year, you'll see the corporal's numbers were fairly consistent.
Actually, let me clarify. Is 985 Maldonado?
No, it's purple.
That's my mistake. Okay, then we're fine. Let's move, keep it moving then. I don't have any further questions.
Just like. The busiest times are from, schedules, the way the schedule is, there's, the shifts are being, obviously there's some shifts, so there's laps there, of course. But weekends are being covered by corporal.
No, it's because I thought 985 was Maldonado.
Okay.
And there was no calls coming in the morning, right? Like in the day shift.
Mhm.
So I'm like, well, obviously we don't need the coverage there, but that's, okay, I just haven't flipped, so no worries.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for item 7B? Okay, then let's keep it moving right along. Okay, so moving on to item 8A, presentation of monthly report by ACO Ashley Cunningham with possible discussion and or action. Is she,
She's out with COVID, she'll be back, she has got doctor's excuse,
okay,
so, we can.
we'll just
Okay. Yes.
carry it over in the next one, okay. Okay, so then moving on to item 8B, we're gonna pull item 8A. Discuss under possible action on ratifying the spending not to exceed $4,000 for an animal control vehicle from Texas Facilities Federal Surplus and related matters. So what you're looking at here on item 8B is the purchase of a Chevy truck or a box van. Then you may be wondering why we did this, and it's because a few months ago, we did authorize the purchase of a slide-in, I guess camper is what you would say for our animal control pickup. However, it still presented an issue of higher lifting for our animal control officer. And so in looking at our federal surplus, they did have a box van, which has a lower entry point. And for basically half the cost of the slide-in camper, we could purchase an entire vehicle with very low miles, low hours of operation, less wear and tear. And we can pay to retrofit it and bring it up to speed and maintenance it, and not have a 200,000 mile vehicle that we're driving around town. So the plan is, what happened is we would basically ratify this $4,000, utilizing the money that we originally assigned to purchase the slide-in, and then use the remaining balance to retrofit the box van, bring it up to speed, get it up to service, and basically that'll be our animal control vehicle. We'll still maintain our truck just for spare vehicle purposes for animal control, but yes, that's basically the explanation of this item here.
Do we have a picture of the vehicle?
No, it's sitting outside though. It's quite literally just a van with the box on the back, but it has double doors on the back. It's all aluminum flooring. It has a door on the side. It has windows. It does have a space heater inside, like a built-in heater. I think that's pretty much it. It's a single wheel, it's not a dual wheel.
It used to be an ambulance, the dead ambulance.
Yeah, but it's got 50,000 miles. I don't recall. It's very low miles. It's a 2006.
How much is the retrofit gonna cost, sir?
Well, I mean, really the only retrofit that we'll be doing is we'll be decaling it. We'll be putting tires. We'll be putting, there you go.
I was thinking more of the inside of it, not necessarily the outside decals. I figure the stickers, that's.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's basically just bolting in some cages, maybe including an AC system / heater. So that way we can actually keep the animals cool when we pick them up during the day. But should still all fit within the original budget for the slide-in.
But the total cost was 4,000.
For the purchase of the entire vehicle was 4,000.
Which is
3,500. Yeah, I think it was 3,500.
32,000.
Oh, that was the original cost.
Oh, yeah, that was the original cost. Yeah, that's what the government paid for it.
So we're talking about spending $4,000 for that van.
But that's.
I'll make a motion, we approve that.
bad. Mhm.
Now that I got to see
It
it.
looks like it's approved.
Yeah, I like I said, I mean, the reality is it was already done, right?
Mhm.
But it's because we had already
Yeah,
made
that's what-
a motion to move money to purchase something.
Mhm.
We're just changing the basically the cause, the reason for it.
I
So
said we
it
do that.
doesn't need approval.
We need to ratify the 4,000. Because it's for a different, although it is for the same purpose, it is for a different purchase. Right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve this ratification.
Mhm.
Is that the correct verbiage?
To ratify the
Make a
spending
motion to approve the ratification of this?
of 4,000.
The prior.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to ratify the 4,000.
Correct.
No, second.
All right.
I couldn't hear a second.
It was Mr. Rapino.
Oh.
Alderman Rapino, apologies.
Would it?
Yeah.
I'm on this bill too.
I have a motion from Alderman Coppendapper and a second from Alderman Rapino to make a motion to ratify the $4,000 spending for the animal control vehicle from Texas Facilities Federal Surplus. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed. Thank you. Okay, so on the next one here, we have discuss and or possible action on reestablishing an animal control advisory committee. I want to go ahead and bring up Mr. David Tremblay, as this was.
If you're gonna address this item, but, I've been seeing next door so many people offering puppies. One day, I think it was the 29th of November, 29th of November, there were 5 different people trying to give away puppies. And next door, other people trying to rehome the ones they have, which rehoming is another thing that I think needs to be addressed. But San Antonio utilizes in their ordinance, they have they require a litter permit, which is something that could possibly be put into the ordinance here, which it's limited as to how many you can have a year. They also require a seller's permit, whereas even if you're rehoming and you have a rehoming fee, in essence, you're selling an animal. So it's a sale of an animal. So that's one thing I think could possibly be put into the existing ordinance: litter permit, seller's permit. Yeah, the rehoming thing. And I know this is off base a little. I know there's been discussion. So you can talk about bringing goats in. There was somebody trying to rehome a pig last week. And I'm afraid that's what'll happen with goats. We can't control dogs right now. We're not controlling pigs because they're rehoming pigs. And next thing you know, they'll be rehoming goats and rehoming for a fee. And then you got people with several goats. If the city does approve an ordinance and they limit the number, how do you control it? If it's in somebody's backyard, there's no control.
Yeah.
And possibly reducing a number of animals that are allowed on some of these properties. They have very small lots. And people, I know I went to this guy's he had a yard sale one day, and he was telling me that his neighbor had 8 dogs. And they just bark all day long. And I told him, like, he put up phone in Pelican City. There is an ordinance, that
Yeah.
limits the number, I think is 6.
Mhm.
And we said, well, I don't want to
7.
get into big arguments
Second.
with my neighbors, and I can't live here.
Yeah.
The difference.
There's just a few things that I think should be brought into the ordinance. And being that you're going to reestablish the animal control committee, I certainly would have some interest in sitting on that committee. So if you're going to appoint people to that tonight, I don't know how far you're going to go with it. But I'd be interested in sitting on that committee and getting more input from a committee than I've been from myself.
Okay.
One other thing, it hasn't been done in a while. No, my time.
You got about 20 seconds.
Okay, newsletter, beginning of the year, might be a good idea for the council to put out a newsletter. Let the city know what's going on. A lot of people don't read the minutes, don't look at that, but if a newsletter ends up in their mailbox, they're probably going to look at it.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay. So basically, let's bring it back to discussion. I did bring it on here for the purpose of having the conversation of an animal control advisory committee. Because I did also notice the same things, right? Lots and lots of dogs, dogs out in the street, dogs being given away, dogs being sold. The difficult part is how do we patrol that, right? Do we go on Nextdoor and impose, or, and create a fake profile and show up at their house to buy a puppy and then give them a citation?
Undercover.
Yeah, undercover puppies finders. I don't know what it is, but the reality is that while we can still create an animal control advisory committee, we still would have to patrol it, right?
And correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't the ordinance call for, of course, keeping your dogs in the fence, but shouldn't they be spayed and neutered, and why are we having so many puppies?
I mean, again, it goes down back
Every
to,
owner has to have their dog spayed or neutered.
yeah, but
So
how do
there
you
shouldn't
patrol?
be any litters.
Right, so to patrol that, how do you do that,
Yeah.
right? Like, obviously, when we,
Enforcement is our issue.
it's when we pick up a dog, right? It should be, you're not gonna get your dog back until you go have it
Pay 'em.
spayed and neutered, right? But then, well, I'm not gonna pay for it.
And to his point, maybe the newsletter would be a way to keep putting it out there that they,
That is a requirement.
any dog that you have in your home should be spayed or
Charles, do you have a question?
neutered. Comment. No?
I do.
Okay,
The animal control ordinance is not being enforced.
Right.
The animal control policy and procedure handbook that we adopted is not being followed. Okay. We are spending money to transport dogs because we have to have them vaccinated. We have to have them wellness checked. We have to have this. We have to have that. Okay, I'm going to say it out loud. If a dog's picked up and he's not picked up by the owner in 72 hours, we open him up for adoption. If a dog's adopted, they have to sign a contract, vaccination, spay, neuter. And if they don't do that, we repossess the dog. Okay? And if the dog is not picked up or adopted, euthanasia is our only. Oh, we're paying $300 to $500 to prepare a dog to be transported. That's, I'm sorry, ridiculous. Okay, I don't want to come off as cold-hearted. I like dogs, but I do not think it's responsible for us to spend $500, $375, $287 to transport a dog to North Dakota.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. It just does not make sense to me. I know that people say, oh, well, the euthanasia, they're family members. They're not family members. If they are, they're abused children.
Chief, did you have a,
But we're not enforcing the ordinance. We're not making economically good decisions to transport dogs. I mean, you go to the vet, well, wellness check, vaccinations. I'm sorry. The only reason I think the city should take an animal to the veterinarian is to be put down. But end of my opinion.
Chief, did you have a comment towards towards any of that?
I may disagree with Councilman Villagers. I haven't seen the transportation cost with Ashley. That's 80 fees that's costing us anywhere from $200 to $500. We don't pay transportation costs. We don't pay any cost on that at all that I've seen. So yes, they rescue, they
That's
transport.
what I
It
assume.
doesn't cost us anything on that.
Why do I see $1,700 in veterinarian fee?
For this month.
for this month.
I don't know.
I'm asking.
I haven't seen that.
I don't know, one of the
I-
pages I looked at,
I have to look at that, so, and I'll get back to you on that. However, if we do on the transport, there's a give and take in that. So if we get one shot, we're then to say, hey, we can get this dog moved out. It's not costing that high end.
Or there are stipulations though that the dog be spayed or neutered if they're gonna take it.
Yes,
So that's where we would incur costs.
it's not that high. But I would have to give Ashley, it's very minimal.
I believe she
on the
has a
shots.
comment on what he said.
But we don't pay any transport fees
Okay.
for.
If we bring any puppies to our facility, any puppies, they cannot go to the facility. They have to go straight to the vet. They have to be parvo tested. And yes, that does get expensive, but with the puppies, with the connections we have, which is not very many, as far as fosters or rescues, they've been taking the animals from us without
Mhm.
having us to get all the vaccinations, transporting them to the vet, bring them back, et cetera, et cetera. They've been trying to take the dogs as is, spayed, neutered, whatever the case may be. The ladies that we use to take the dogs from us, to take them to Canada, to transport them to Canada or upstate or wherever it may go, they know that those dogs will get fixed, spayed, neutered, and it's not on the city. They know that we do not have the funds to do that to these animals. We've also explained to them that it's basically 3 days and the dog goes down. So we obviously don't want to see that happen. We'd like to see them go to a good home, a forever home. And that does have good endings. It's not always 3 days they go down. That's not our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal is to get these dogs off the streets that are been dumped or not being taken care of, and we find good homes for them within a reasonable amount of time. And try not to incur all the vet bills. Just the other day, Ashley and myself went out on Dragon Walk and we picked up 5, 6, 7 dogs. Ashley wrote 12 citations. And one lady came and picked up her dog. And it is now in the paperwork that she has 30 days to get that dog spayed because she will have a litter of puppies. But that's on the homeowner. So that's something that we need to press more of and get these people that have these animals, they need to be held accountable for these animals. And then dealing with Dragon Rock, it was where you can just take the dog. So you would do like that with your kids?
Okay, well,
So you'd be held
look,
We
responsible
could
for the
take them
dogs.
and find them at the.
So having them fixed, that is one of our options with our paperwork. We just have to keep on with it.
okay, no, that's fine. And just to bring it, to reel it back in, right? So this was more about the Animal Control Advisory Committee. And I think Charles makes a great point, right? I don't think an advisory committee is going to help enforce that. I think we just need to talk about more resources for animal control. I don't think the advisory committee, because they're not gonna go out there and give out citations and pick up dogs, right? Like, that's not their job. That's- Right, resources is really what animal control needs. And then once we can get a handle on that, then I think the advisory committee could come back and, provide some labor to help, feed the dogs or walk the dogs or whatever it may be, right? Help find a network of homes. But for now, I think really the advisory committee was more just a conversation. I could be completely wrong. You tell me different, but I think what everyone has said today is that we just don't have enough resources in animal control to enforce the stuff that we already
So
approved.
instead of a committee, could we ask for volunteers to help report the loose dogs?
I mean,
As volunteers,
the-
is that a possibility? They're volunteering for a committee.
I mean, I think we do get a lot of reports, but there are a lot of dogs that flee, right? And then there's dogs that are not there when they call,
Well,
so.
because you're talking about resources. So if they're willing to be a committee, maybe they're willing to be volunteers as a resource.
And so our one person's gonna respond to,
Well,
three,
not
you know
the
what I
one,
mean?
but hopefully you
Yeah,
can
but-
convince other people.
Right, right.
Because you were gonna try to form a committee, right? So that's what, 5, 6 people?
It's a liability
Well, that's
the
what I was
city, for
asking.
people to
Could
go
we do
out
it?
there and try to apprehend these dogs.
No,
What? No,
I
no,
don't
no,
wanna-
not apprehend.
Let's
just
say
to
something here. One of the
document.
things we're looking at is doing a committee again, no, it wouldn't be beneficial to the community. Enforcement, holding people responsible, absolutely. You bring up a good point, sir. The puppy mill's going on in San Diego. We're hearing about it on Nextdoor. People are seeing it. Has anybody reported that to you, chief?
No,
Puppy mill's going on? That's a problem. If you know something is going on that's not right, make a phone call, turn it in, send a message, do whatever you gotta do. Because if you know that somebody is advertising these puppies for sale, rehoming, whatever you want to call it, they're already violating the ordinances of the city.
so
My point being is, people have to be proactive and, okay, Tom, I see you running a puppy mill. Hey, chief, Tom's running a puppy mill. Please take action. Too easily done.
We don't sit and read next door.
no, I know.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I hear about it,
understand.
but-
Report it, because we're not sitting there reading.
Right.
That's my point. The citizens have to be more involved. If you see somebody doing something wrong and they're crazy enough to put it on the internet, I told this to my kids years ago, do not put your garbage out there to be seen by the world, but they do it anyway. Well, then yes, report it. I'm not saying it has to be a city council member, the mayor, police chief. I'm saying as a citizen of our community, you see these things going on, why not say something immediately? You don't have to wait for a city council member. You don't have to wait for this meeting. Chief's number is real easy to get. He's got a lot of cards out here. His number's posted on the door. It's on the internet. We can get a hold of our police department. Please turn this stuff
Well,
in.
how about
So-
a animal control newsletter?
Okay, so again, back, so.
If
that-
they're
that news-
committed to get there.
Yeah, and that,
That's
so,
what I'm saying.
so then if we, okay, so we have a lot of great ideas, so then why don't we just take it back a few steps and say, do we want a committee? Right?
No,
And that's just one person, so I mean, there's four more of y'all.
Yeah. We're not gonna get anything down here.
it's just more bureaucracy.
If I may be so bold, sir.
What are you not, sir?
We had an animal control advisory committee for several years.
And then the council.
It was a big zero.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay. We have an animal shelter advisory committee since 2019. A big zero. But you know, if you feel like the committee is actually gonna do anything,
No, you just bring it up.
I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying. History says. What are we gonna do
It's
with
not-
an animal control advisory committee?
Yeah.
What is it? What?
They can help look for rescues, they could.
It's the
bring-
lack of involvement.
Well, I mean, it's
We can
more of
give it
a
another-
meeting to get together instead of doing something, right? So
What my
that's what
point
I'm
being is,
saying, if,
there's nobody there
but the idea
that
is
shows up to this
get 5 or
committee.
6 people for committee, so why isn't the idea get 5 or 6 people to volunteer to address this? You know, if they're willing to come to a meeting for an hour, then during the day they could volunteer an hour.
so why don't we
That's
do
what I'm
this?
saying.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we put it out there that we are looking to form a committee and see who wants to sign up? And however many number of people sign up, then we'll say, okay, now we have some interest, then we can do it.
Yeah.
If nobody signs up to be a committee member,
Well,
then,
because the committee meetings are one time a month at night in the evening to do what?
well, again, they could be at any time. We lay it out there, right? You're gonna have to meet once a month. You're gonna have to meet from 6:30 to 7:30, whatever it is. Put it the worst possible explanation as possible, so that way everybody's deterred. But the people that really want to do it will say, yes, I still want to do it. So if we can get 3 people to sign up, then we can look to create an advisory committee.
I would suggest they don't have a meeting at night for them to meet during the
or
day
whatever,
and,
yeah.
and travel the city, and, you know, be an active committee, you know, that people can see.
Priscilla, did you have a comment?
Me?
No, Priscilla.
I mean, idea or whatever.
I just say, I mean, yeah, we had zero. Just put it out there. If they want to sign up for it and they can come up with a committee, then
Okay,
Mayor, the council did transfer all the advisory committee duties to the animal advisory, shelter advisory duties in January.
okay,
Correct.
so there still is a committee.
There is a committee.
Okay, so.
Karen, how many members?
So there's 4 required and then the
I
ordinance
don't think
allows
there are
council
any.
to appoint additional members.
Oh,
Okay, so then let's put it out there that we still do have a shelter advisory committee.
that has the
But
duties.
we've always had one.
Well, I know, but I'm saying, let's put it
Because
out
it's
there.
a legal requirement. We've never had a meeting.
So then again, let's put it out there that we do have one and we
Right.
need volunteers.
Because,
Let's,
Yeah,
we,
because the
we have to
complaint is
try,
that-
I guess.
because the complaint is that it's never done anything.
Yeah.
So now we gave them the duties of the animal
Yeah,
committee
come out and do something.
and, it's still not.
Sharon, don't we have
So-
a chair on that?
Alderman Coffendacker is chairing the Animal Shelter Advisory Committee, man.
And how many members do you have in?
Me,
Just you,
nobody from the community.
Well, let's make sure that. we
Looks like I
advertise-
might get one
Mr.
tonight.
Treasurer.
Let's make sure that we advertise it. And I think that closes it, right? Let's advertise it. Let's try to get some people by the next meeting and see if we can put something together.
Okay,
Any questions?
no,
Nothing? Okay, before you say something, okay. All right, moving along. Updates and announcements from Park Advisory Committee Chair Alderman Rapino with possible discussion and or action. Alderman Rapino, you have the floor.
Okey doke, I'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the park. Particularly the community center is going to have pictures with Santa on the 19th and 20th. And the angel tree is going on and they have people picking up sponsoring picking up angels to sponsor gifts. And they are still using gifts from last year that has helped a lot. But people are still picking up angels. There are events happening at the community center that are successful, like all the Banco and bingo and the
Crochet.
knitting and the crocheting and the quilting. And the market days haven't been going well, but they expect that the weather gets better. It will get better. There are about 8 to 10 vendors that are showing up for that. The shed, the new shed has helped a lot by allowing them to store stuff there. And we're looking to get some bids to shore up that shed, tie it down and put some skirting around the bottom. So we're working on that. And their activities will continue in January after the holiday break. And that's about all I have.
Alderman Rapino, could we look into, again, looking into the playground for the children? We never did anything with that.
When you say, what would you want to do with it?
I think we were trying to get a cover for it and,
Thought we were gonna
Because it's
replace
a-
everything in that.
I'm sorry,
Thought it was gonna be a replacement of everything down there.
Well, we were talking about that, but that really is costly, but we can look at it again, yeah.
because it was an item before and
And
nothing.
right now, the mayor's also looking at rejuvenating the ball field, so he's gonna talk about
Right.
that a little later. But
Right.
those prices are really
I
up
know.
there. And
I
I
know.
have a contact. I'll reach out and get some ideas.
The playground. If we replace that equipment. We have to modernize it to new standards.
Mhm.
We're probably looking in the neighborhood of $100,000 to get an equivalent playground.
Mhm.
And even more now, Charles, I've been looking at some of that.
Updated equipment The other part is that updated equipment has to be ADA accessible.
Mhm.
Uh, so
And the turf
like I say,
too.
you're looking at $125,000 to put in an equivalent playground in today's price. So, consider it. Maybe somebody wants to make a Christmas present.
Yeah, it's not impossible, right?
It-
I don't. think
We
it's
buy.
on the agenda.
Yeah, it's not. So then actually since Alderman Rapino brought it up, the angel tree. I did see there was a last minute effort to have some more angels. So if anybody wants to, they are looking for angels. So. But yeah, I think we can talk about that some more. We'll get some ideas. Okay. Any questions? All right, moving right along, discuss and or possible action on resolution 2023-187, appointing a mayor pro tem. That is for me. So,
Actually, sir, you can make recommendations, but council's gonna appoint the mayor pro tem without your participation.
well, then I recommend that we put the existing mayor pro tem, Ms. Grace Alvarado.
I'll make a motion that we appoint the current mayor pro tem to serve for another year.
I'll second.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, go ahead, you finish.
Mayor pro tem Alvarado, would you accept that position?
I will.
Now, second, sir.
With a 10% pay
raise?
A 50%.
Sure, we'll do 50% of zero, that works. Don't worry, none of us get paid.
All right, I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Rapino to appoint the current mayor pro tem, Ms. Grace Alvarado, as the new mayor pro tem for the new financial year, fiscal year.
Yeah.
All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Can you vote for yourself?
I guess. Yes.
And all those
Okay.
opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you. Let's go ahead and do the reading. Okay, so City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, resolution number 2023-187. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, electing a mayor pro tem. Whereas section 22.037 of the local government code provides that each new governing body's first meeting, or as soon as practicable, the governing body shall elect one alderman to serve as the president pro tempore, as also referred to as mayor pro tem, for a term of 1 year. And whereas a new governing body of the city Sandy Oaks held a meeting on December 14th, 2023, after a general election ordered by the city council, which was held on November 7th, 2023. Now therefore be it resolved by the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks, Texas. Section 1, the city council hereby elects Grace Alvarado to serve as mayor pro tem for 1 year pursuant to section 22.037 of the local government code, or until her successor is elected. Section 2, if the mayor fails, is unable, or refuses to act, the mayor pro tem shall perform the mayor's duties and is entitled to receive any fees and compensation prescribed for the mayor. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately from and after its passage and approval. This has been passed and approved on this 14th day of December 2023, City of Sandy Oaks, Texas. Congratulations, ma'am.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the
How can you
resolution.
say the 11th?
Does say
It does.
the
We need the motion to.
I move to strike, passed and approved on this 11th day of December. Strike 11th and insert 14th.
I'll second.
It was also in the second.
Move to strike all instances of December 11th.
I move to strike all instances of December 11th or 11th and insert 11 or 11 as applicable. 14 or
Okay,
14th as applicable.
I'll second that too.
Okay, so I have a motion by Alderman Rapino, or excuse me, a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to strike December 11th, all instances of December 11th, and insert December 14th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, that passes. Thank you. Okay, and then what did you say? Megan?
Oh, and then a motion to pass the resolution as amended.
Okay. And then we will need another motion to pass the resolution as now amended.
I make a motion to pass resolution,
I'll second that.
number 2023-187 as amended.
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman Rapino and a second from Alderman Coffindaffer to pass resolution number 2023-187 as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to number 10B, discuss and or possible actions on ordinance 2023-228, amending the annual budget for fiscal year 2022-2023 for municipal purposes. This is essentially to close out the budget for 2022-2023, zero out any variances from over or underspend, and close out the budget as a
Fine.
Uh,
final budget, correct?
Make a motion, we approve ordinance number 2023-228. Close up and forward that. to 2023.
Do we need to go what?
I think we need to go over the amendments that did I not include?
Yeah, it's there.
I think I have to approve the amendments.
220.
So we just
Like-
have to say as
For
amended.
this, yeah, as amended as a whole, unless there are any changes to this document, then those would need to be individually. approved.
I don't really think any seen this document, because I've just been. But if they're. sensible, Thank you. You have a motion on the table.
That's what they could just say. As amended.
As amended.
I'll second with that. Is okay.
I'll put it off into the-
Yeah, let's withdraw your motion and let's look at this again next month. So that way we can, me and Catherine can go over it and make sure that we're on the same page.
So what do you want to do?
Can you withdraw your motion?
What's all the new?
What's wrong with it? That's your city.
I feel like we're kind of rushing through it now. Now that I see that there's backup to actually review, unless you've reviewed it and you feel good with it.
I moved to postpone this, ordinance 2023-228 until our next business
Put it
meeting.
in there.
Is it
I'll
withdrawn?
second that.
They both withdrew?
So Alderman Fillinger and Alderman Rapino both withdrew their motions.
You have another motion.
You mean
on the table.
Alderman Coffin.
Alderman Coffindaffer and Alderman Rapino. So we do have another.
Yes, I moved to postpone, consideration of ordinance number 2023-228 until our next business meeting.
I'll
To
second
give
that.
time to review the budget changes.
Okay. So
Second.
we have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Rapino to postpone item 10B for further review. All those in favor say aye.
Yes, I-
Oh, yeah, good to know. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Sir? Did you? I didn't, you didn't, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay, thank you, sir. That is approved, thank you. Okay. So moving on to 10C, discuss and or possible action on ordinance. Quit mumbling. Discuss and or possible action on ordinance 2023-229, amending the annual budget for fiscal year 2023-2024 for municipal purposes. Okay, so 10C1,
If I may.
yes, go ahead.
10C2 is the proposed amendment. It's mostly to add a line item for uniforms. for public works, instead of taking it out of tools and equipment, identify it appropriately as instrument. With a $4,000 budget, taking it out of tools and equipment. And then the other would be adding in income and
Expense.
expenses, the school crossing guard fund, which we will get to shortly. That's the simple.
So we're reducing tools and equipment under, this is Public Works from 15,000 to 11,000 and adding in $4,000 for uniforms. We're also adding in an income and expense for school crossing guard fund
Of 6,000.
of $6,000.
Move to adopt ordinance number 2023-229. An ordinance of the City Council, of the City of Sandy Oaks, amending the annual budget for fiscal year 2023-2024 for municipal purposes, providing a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion for by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to approve ordinance number 2023-229, amending the annual budget for fiscal year 2023-2024 for municipal purposes. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Thank you. All right, next one is item 10D, discuss and or possible action on ordinance 2023-230. Amending ordinance 2020-164, adopting regulations for manufactured homes. Madam Secretary, do you want to talk through this one?
Didn't we have a session?
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, so actually, let's talk through it and then we'll bring you up to have your part. Okay. You wanna go?
The main thing was, I think. Forgive me, I wasn't here last month. That a home needs to be removed before the new one comes. And 2 homes are not allowed on a piece of property. I think that's in here. I don't.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I see we striked out only a licensed installer may install. Is it? Okay, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna help you.
How
That
that
was-
happened.
Oh, just start, okay.
The sound's turned off.
Forgive me for not. Putting this in color so you can see the amendments on it.
Okay, well, actually, Mr. Gruber, do you want to go ahead and address your part?
Well, I'm gonna wait and see what the out there, but I got.
You got a few,
Give me more insight to asking the questions I need to ask,
okay,
if that's all right.
yeah, no, that's fine, that's fine. Let me see what the. Wasn't this one with Chris, correct? Didn't he provide some of the insight into this one?
If I recall.
Yeah.
Yes, you're.
The main issue was that there was too many other buildings on the lot, right? But there's
Yeah,
other,
well, they were saying, oh, no, it'll get removed.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden, you've got another home.
right, or they kind of pre-planned because they put it towards the back of the lot. And then they brought in another one, put it in the front, so their intentions were to have 2 buildings, and we didn't stop that before. You know, it happened.
There was no, there was
Okay,
no
so,
regulations.
so it looks like it's item C, right? That was added in, only 1 manufactured home shall be allowed per lot. I mean, do we limit it to 1 manufactured home, or can it be a built home, 1 dwelling? I mean, I think that would be
Well,
probably
Or
this is only for-
Strictly for, manufacturing.
manufactured
Manufactured
homes. Okay,
Right, but you are addressing the fact that there is 2 buildings or 2 structures on one lot.
Don't
No?
confuse the issue, ma'am, let's deal with.
What she said,
Let's deal with this ordinance, and this ordinance addresses only manufactured homes.
And that's what she said.
So
There was two dwelling,
Yeah.
two structures, two manufactured
One has
homes.
to go before the other, so basically.
That's what she
When I
said.
say structures, because there's food sheds, too, that people, you could,
Okay, so the main adjustment here is, again, only one manufactured home shall be allowed per lot.
uh,
You mean the permit to remove it prior to bringing another one in? Correct.
Section 7B requires a plan of what the applicant is, how they plan on removing the existing manufactured home to bring in new one before.
So after the passing of this, when they bring in an application, they have to also bring in proof that the current home. So they have to have the plan that the current home.
Like an
will be
invoice.
removed by a certain date, and the other will not be installed until the first. Year.
So like a new invoice to remove the current home.
Some sort of a plan. The plan for removal.
I mean, I have a plan, you know what I mean? Like I have a plan in my head, but how do I prove
Yeah,
that?
but yeah,
So then I think it has to be something more solid,
Mm.
right? I mean, because otherwise,
sort of plans in
Okay.
writing that shows that.
okay,
Well, when I saw the ordinance, I didn't just see corrections in section 7. There's corrections in section 5. There's corrections in section 7G. There's corrections in what is this 7? All those 7, all 70. There's corrections in section 8, 6 and 7. Section 8. There, I mean, there's you put lines through a lot of things.
well then let's go through them. All right, so for section 5,
Well, there's.
so section 5A, we are striking after the effective date of this ordinance. And instead putting a manufactured home may be located and installed within the city limits with the proper permit. No manufactured homes shall be erected, replaced, or installed within the city limits of the city that cannot meet one or more conditions of HUD code manufactured homes requirements in section 6 herein. So that's it. That's the only.
It's referring to section 6.
Yeah. And then on section E2G, I guess, we just made a correction in spelling, from licensed to licensed and manufactured to, I'm not gonna, I wanted to pronounce it, but it's not appropriate, to manufactured. So that's the only correction there. When you get to now item 6, that's where we add in the new prerequisite, which is only one manufactured home shall be allowed per lot. We strike because we're having to add in another letter, so that's why all those are struck out. From B to C, C to D, D to E, E to F, F to G, and so on and so forth. As we get to section 7, this is where again we add in another version or another element where a permit may only be issued upon demonstration and satisfaction that a proposed plan for a manufactured home meets all the requirements of this ordinance and includes a plan for removal of any existing mobile or manufactured home. I do think we need to add in what the definition of a plan is, just to say an invoice, a receipt, a purchase of service, right, to remove it. But that would be my only addition to that. Otherwise, I don't have a problem with the idea because I do it.
So many plans that can be submitted. that
Right,
then
so-
that's specific that, okay.
But what kind of plan? What that, okay, so there's a lot of examples, right? So give me a few. You see what I'm saying? Like if you're gonna tell me there's a lot of examples,
That they've hired something, that they've hired someone to.
right? So then there should be a quote, an estimate of an invoice. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want it.
Plan. Because, I mean, if you get.
Specific.
If you get too
I know, and I don't want to
like,
be.
Well, I can't approve this because this isn't an invoice, it's not, you know, you're gonna put in all of those.
Because you can't accept a quote because it's just a quote, right?
Come
You,
up with everything that they could.
so that's what I'm saying. If we don't get specific, they're gonna give you everything but. My cousin said he's gonna do it, and here's his quote.
So
Yeah.
you want
You know what I mean?
something that's
Uh,
paid and
how about this? Okay, I would propose that section 7, paragraph B, a permit may only be issued upon demonstration and satisfaction that a proposed plan for manufactured home meets all the requirements of this ordinance and includes strike a plan or and insert proof of removal of the existing mobile or manufactured home.
There you go. I can live with that. Does that help though? Does that help you? Okay.
Just a question, so the home, that would require that the home already be
Already be
removed
removed,
before they
yeah.
can bring a new one.
that,
That was the intention.
yeah,
But, but,
that solves the
but-
problem.
you know, life is hard all over, man.
Well, you
Just wanted
kind
to
of, you
that-
kind of schedule,
Okay.
you kind of schedule it to where they're gonna deliver right after you remove it. I mean, not, you know,
Yeah, I mean, they still, it wouldn't mean, it wouldn't mean moving ready, but
And I've seen
you
people
have to do it.
get pods, they've done it, they
Yeah.
turn out, they actually get pods, they move their house into it. They stay in a trailer or something, and so that's good.
Wanna make sure
Yeah,
that would be.
if I can afford a new home, I can afford 2 days in the hotel while they take one out and bring one in. Just,
You don't see anything.
I mean, they've done
When
it.
you
I've seen
bring one
some
in,
done
you're not gonna
already.
move in right away.
no. Okay,
So just proof.
Proof
but,
of removal.
you know. This is a stopgap measure when we have a planning and zoning ordinance, we limit residences to one per property. But it doesn't matter if it's a manufactured home, site-built home, or another portable building from Home Depot.
But they're not even recording this.
Amendment.
I move that we. I don't put it right.
Hey, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
All right. Scribble where you work.
Okay, I move that section 7, paragraph B, you strike a plan for and improve, insert proof of the,
Removal.
that is a motion.
Alderman Crummett, you know, I asked that. Ms. Schmidt gives some input,
Ms. Smith?
Just real quick,
Yes,
it needs to be a licensed mobile home mover. The reason,
that's in the ordinance already, man. Yes,
So do you?
yeah, it says license installer.
okay, because if there's any damage under our road, what we've had, we need to be able to go to the company who did the damage to our
Yeah,
roads.
no, it's in there. I saw it earlier.
it's in there. Thank you.
Okay, so I have a motion.
Where is that? G is for the, for the installation. Reliable modification, so the removal,
Like before we entertain any motions, what do you like to?
we can just add remove
Same
to
thing.
G.
Okay,
He's been going through
So that'd be a
the-
separate motion, so.
okay, so let's get,
Are we gonna let you guys talk?
no. Yeah, Mr. Gruber, all right, before we move forward with the motion, because we got a few things on the table. Did you want to go ahead and make your statement?
All right,
There's been a motion.
Yeah, but
For the amendment.
According to that regulation, you can only have one manufactured home on the site,
mhm.
okay? What if you had, can the person have 2 of them if they're connected?
Well, that counts as more.
That would be counted as double wide according to the ordinance, sir.
They
Okay,
connect a brand new.
for instance, if I wanted to get another single wide.
Modify
connected
it,
to the
And
one
bottom
I've
up?
got,
modification?
Like bottom up?
yeah,
At
Would
the
that
adding
go
on.
against that regulation.
Sir. Right, I'm gonna answer it myself. If Mr. Gruber is allowed to address council. Council is not allowed to respond to his comments.
Okay.
But we can accept his input, but we cannot discuss his input.
Okay,
Technically, that's a point of order,
yeah,
but.
no, you're right,
Point of order.
okay. All right, so was that it, Mr. Gruber? Okay,
I had other questions, but that's fine.
no, I mean, you still have time.
They just won't get answered.
They're just not gonna get answered, but we can,
That's okay.
okay.
I'm done.
Okay. All right, so we did have a motion on the floor to strike a plan for and proof of the, and insert proof of the removal of any existing mobile or manufactured home. I do need a second.
1 second.
Okay. So I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Rapino to strike a plan for and to insert proof of the removal of an existing mobile or manufactured home. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? All right, now, just sort of brought up a good point. If we do go back to, what section was it?
You're gonna talk, this ordinance passed. So
You can't change.
as is, right, as amended,
When?
you'll just pass it.
No, no, we
No,
have,
that section.
Oh, just the section. okay,
yeah,
gotcha. That was
So
the
it's
section.
open for discussion, the other sections?
yeah.
Okay.
All right, so on item E2G, only a licensed installer may install, relevel, or modify. I think all we do is
That's in section what? I'm sorry.
E,
No,
two-
section
yeah, E,
two,
yeah, E.
section two. Which one?
Oh, I see.
They all-
I see what you're saying. It's in section 5,
Oh, section five.
section 5,
Page.
page 5. But section,
Yeah, section.
yeah,
Okay, two,
yeah. E2G.
okay.
All right, so I think all we need to do is add in another word here, right? So licensed installer may install, relevel, modify, and remove any component of the manufactured home's foundation or any component of the manufactured home.
I would not insert that. Because in many cases, they don't. Remove the home by putting wheels and a dolly back on it. They bulldoze it and put it into a dumpster.
Oh, okay,
In that case, you don't need a licensed installer to remove the mobile home. Most instances that I've seen here,
it's a demolition.
people demolish the mobile home on site and remove parts.
Okay,
So where does the damage to the roads come from?
New installation,
install.
new mobile homes coming.
So why are we going after them? That was her complaint.
Yeah.
Not being able to get back some of the,
No,
Hey.
well, so then,
those damages are new manufactured homes coming into the community.
Mhm.
They wipe out the barricade posts on the streets,
the right of way,
they gouge the pavement.
yeah,
happened right in front of
But
us.
yeah, and
And I would imagine these people have insurance that we could file a claim
and
against.
when they, if they've drawn a permit, we should have the name of the licensed installer
Mhm.
and be able to go back and address those issues with that installer.
And we've done them.
so in the event, okay, hold on, let's bring it back real quick. So I almost feel like we do need to put it in there, but add yours as a bypass that if you choose to demolish it, then a licensed installer would not be needed, right? Something like that. Because then you need a demolition company. But I just don't want my two cousins breaking up this house, throwing all the trash in the dumpster, and then I'm sitting on a frame there until I can get somebody to come pick up the scrap metal. You know what I mean? So like, how do we avoid that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It happened right
I
in
believe
front of,
there's another ordinance that covers that.
Yeah.
Chief. Under what guise was it that you were able to have those, dilapidated places removed about 3 years ago. Do you remember?
Substandard building,
Substandard building.
Road,
Substandard buildings.
Yeah, something like
so
that.
there was a substandard building.
Because Chief was able to, they were down on Priest Road. On the other side of the road, down on the end of the city there.
Yeah.
So we would use that ordinance in that instance.
Yes, we don't need to pass another ordinance. Right now, the way this is written, the only person that can bring in
Is a licensed installer.
is a licensed installer. As far as the removal, okay, however they choose to, it's their property, it's what they're gonna do with it. But as far as it being able to sit there and be tore up and falling down forever, we have already worked very hard. Those ordinances have been in place, we've reinforced those ordinances, and everything is already there. So to pass another,
Or to.
Yeah, it would
add to
be, it
this.
would,
to
yeah,
add to
Yeah.
is just
Yeah.
more verbiage of let's waste more ink and make it more.
more government.
I agree, let's make it more government, that's a good word.
Yeah.
This is-
Okay, I mean, I'm not opposed to that because you're right, we do have ordinances in place that call for, the building to be demolished. So I mean,
All of that's already in place, we don't need more government. We're good.
so do we want to add anything for the demolition then?
Yes, because by the time you get to the point.
I'm
of-
sorry, the answer was no by city council. Voting members.
Well, we haven't voted, so
Okay, I'll make a motion, we do not add that.
no. There's no other, is there a second? Okay, go ahead.
No,
Well, like the point being, if it's demolished, it's not causing any. Damage to the streets. That was her point.
Yeah.
And so that's why we were addressing the licensed installer.
Right.
Okay, so that's being installed. So those are licensed.
Right.
as Alderman Fillinger brought it out. And so we can bring, or hold them responsible for that damage
Okay,
at that point.
but as far as demolition, we don't want to add anything in there. And I mean, I agree with Alderman Fillinger that they can demolish it
Mhm.
and there shouldn't be no destruction. There
That happened
shouldn't.
right in front of my house there.
What was
They
it, the
demolished-
installer? Oh,
No,
okay.
the owner had someone come out and demolish it. They removed everything with the frame,
Mhm.
in their large containers.
Yeah.
And then they brought the new one in. They took out all the right of way, in front of my house,
They
but
just did it across the street. from here.
nobody's, I mean, who's watching that? Who's saying, oh, there's an installation today, let me go watch.
Well, even with somebody moving something out like that, the piece of equipment you're talking about to move it out in dumpsters, that's a DOD piece of equipment.
No, that's the removal, but when they brought in the new one,
Mhm.
somebody knows that they're bringing something in, right? That permit was issued to bring it in.
Yeah.
On that day, there was no one out there.
Yeah.
To watch it, so the damage is done and we only see it after the fact. So how do we track that?
Yeah.
Because they took out the whole, I mean, I'm glad they didn't take my mailbox.
I mean, we'd have to coordinate one of our officers to be out there.
And that's the thing, in every single section of this, I put in my notes, who's checking? Who's following up? I mean, because we're putting everything in place that needs to be in place. But then what happens after
Code
that?
compliance. Well, we don't have code compliance.
That's what I'm saying. There is a co-compliance or abatement $5,000 line. So who's doing that?
Well, the abatement's something different. but
Yeah, what I'm saying,
Yeah,
I mean, it's addressed somehow, right?
Yeah.
Compliance. So is every officer supposed to?
They
be
are
doing that?
supposed to be doing code compliance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then that's the thing. I mean, these people know that we don't check.
Well, then
We
maybe,
check the plates on the mobile homes.
Yeah. okay. All right, so we have one amendment, we passed it. So then really it comes down to, now we need to vote on the actual ordinance itself.
On section 6J, it says manager, it should be manner. On page 6 at the
Yes.
bottom, the last one. It says an efficient manner. I believe that should be manner instead of manager. You see it?
Okay. Time is now 7:54. City secretary is now leaving. Safe and efficient, yeah, it should be manner.
Okay.
we need a motion.
Okay, I make a motion, section 6. Paragraph J. Strike manager. And insert manner.
Can I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger? May I get a
I'll
second?
second that.
All right, I got a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Coffendaffer to strike manager and insert manner as not to permit water to stand or become stagnant. All of those in favor say aye.
All right,
Right,
All those opposed. Thank you. Oh, I thought it was already in the room. Okay. So we just added that line in?
Yes.
Okay, if you jump back to page 3, there was an additional line added to section 3, mobile homes permitted. It reads, no permit shall be issued for the installation and placement of a mobile home inside the city limits of the city. Inside this, I don't,
No permit shall be issued for the installation of the phone inside the city.
Then doesn't that just pretty much negate everything after that?
No,
It's a
because
no.
we're talking about mobile homes.
oh, because
manufactured.
we're talking about manufactured homes.
a mobile home, was the term used prior to 1976.
Yeah, I see. what you're saying.
Since 1976,
It's been called-
everything
manufactured
has
home.
been a HUD approved manufactured home.
Mhm.
So a mobile home would have been built prior to 1976, and we're saying you can't bring that in here.
Tool,
Understood. That does need a motion to be added.
because it's in the ordinance presented to you already.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Never
Actually, it
mind.
doesn't need a motion.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's in there.
Yeah, you're right, it's in there,
Why
so
would-
you are right.
So we accept it as is.
Now we can.
If there's no further discussion, I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2023-230. An ordinance adopting regulations for manufactured homes, providing definitions, prohibiting the installation of mobile homes within the city limits, providing regulations for the installation of modular homes, providing regulations for the installation of HUD code manufactured homes, establishing permits, inspections, and fees, providing for penalty provisions, providing for severability, repealing ordinance number 2020-164, and providing for repealer clause and providing for publication and an effective date. I also move to waive the second reading of this ordinance.
As amended.
Uh,
Separate.
as amended and waiving the second reading of the ordinance.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Rapino to approve ordinance number 2023-230. All of those in favor
As amended
as amended
and waiving.
and waiving the second reading. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed. Thank you. All right, discussing our possible actions on the feasibility of having another car show. Have we talked, we haven't talked about that, right?
No, we have not, but I was gonna ask if we can skip to 11B first.
Yeah, let's just move on to new business and then we'll bring it up. We'll just go to the other meeting.
Based on time, we'll come back to that.
Okay, so let's,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay, no, you're fine, you're fine.
I only asked that because we were just talking about the budget.
Gotcha.
And I know people are sitting here that are the gallery looking at us like we're crazy talking about $6,000 for the
Yeah, the cross guard fund.
cross guard fund.
Yeah, so then,
And I know you can explain that. to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other folks. I
Got it.
appreciate it.
no problem.
That comes up in 11B.
Yeah, so then let's talk through that. So 11B, discuss and or possible action on spending program recommendations for the school crossing guard fund. So sometime in October, I was contacted by Mr. Albert University, our tax assessor for the county. And he let me know that City of San Diego will start receiving a school cross guard fund of about $500 approximately per month. So over the course of a year, $6,000. And that's to be used for obviously a school cross guard or for the health and safety of children. Well, if you're familiar with most cross guards, they're usually across the street from a school. And the way Southside Independent School District is designed is most of their schools are in front of a highway. So a school cross guard is typically not necessary. So I reached out to Southside ISD and said, where are our hotspots? And they gave me about 6 bus stops throughout the city that are notoriously populated, right? 10 to 15 kids every year, every school year. Talked to a couple of people and they said, yeah, those spots have been there for years. And, ranging on the kids' age, they're going to be there for years because they're little now. They're going to go to high school. They're going to take the same bus stop. So what we do need to do is figure out a way to spend this money. One of the first options that we came up with was to actually just stripe the roads, put some flashing lights, pedestrians crossing. That'd be the easiest. It would attract enough attention, especially once the time changes, right? Like right now where it's dark at 5:30 and kids are getting home or kids are going to school early in the morning. The second option, and these all still need to be vetted as far as cost wise, but the second option would be to actually build bus stops, which means a cemented foundation. Because most of our bus stops would fall into the right of way, it would need to be what's the word I'm looking for?
Barricaded.
Not so much barricaded, but like a retaining wall installed, right? So that way the foundation doesn't fall. My thought is to build a canopy, in a sense, a metal canopy, 3-sided, so that way they could be protected from wind and water and rain, and sun. And then have some lighting, whether it be solar lighting, and then obviously put in some benches, right? Because when there's bad weather, parents line up along the road and create traffic jams, create hazards. And when there's bad weather, they have to wait, which then causes them to be late for work. So in a sense, trying to benefit the parent as well, right? They could still drop them off as they normally do, but little Susie and little Tommy don't have to get, wet or cold or whatnot. So those are a couple of options. I definitely leave it open to suggestions, but we do need to come up with some sort of solution.
To use the money.
Yeah, to utilize the funds. And it doesn't have to be now. We can certainly come back to it because I know this is new for this group. But those are just the initial.
For consideration, sir.
Yep.
I think option 1 might be a viable use for the money. I think option 2 would be a real big stretch to say this is proper use for school cross guard money.
I mean, it's for the health and safety, right?
Justification, I guess.
I understand, but I just don't see that as a viable.
Are these funds ongoing
Yes, we will continually receive about $500 a month every year.
for 9 months out of the year?
No, this is based off of your registration,
Mhm.
your auto registration. So, I mean, it's going to come once a month, every month, every year.
I think we ought to look at starting with what Alderman Feller just talking about, using that as our start point.
Yeah.
And then from there, we can let it grow. That would be, well, I agree
I
with
guess
it.
he's
Yeah.
addressing the fact that the purpose of the funds.
Yeah, like I say, spending school crossing funds for shelters, I just don't think that's a legitimate use. Whereas, flashing lights,
For the crossing.
and school crossing, signs at striking, those are all viable and legitimate suggestions to me.
Well, I have done my research and it is a viable option. Now, it is one of the more expensive options, right? Because now you need a contractor to lay cement, build a structure, add lighting,
Well,
so,
I haven't been to look at all of these.
sure.
But
No.
in many places in that city, anything that you're talking about put in the right of way, you're building
issue.
over a 3 to 8 foot deep ditch.
Yeah.
So, you know.
No, I know,
Yeah,
and
Now
that's,
now you're talking $25,000 to $30,000 per shelter.
Yeah.
I know, in my neighborhood,
The digits.
yeah, those are cheap and high ditches out there.
yeah, and there was supposed to be a backup here that would have showed the 5 or 6 locations that Southside ISD recommended. But
Really?
is there?
You're talking about this?
No, there's a map.
Oh,
There
yeah.
should have been a map. But I mean, this is the same thing, right? It just doesn't
That's
show
what
you.
the school told us. They're already on this one.
Right, so Dragon Rock and UMathis, Fawn Trail and Waterwood Pass, UMathis and Shady Forest. So I mean, maybe some of these do have that similar situation
And
where,
some don't,
Right.
some have, you know.
Yeah.
yeah, so I think the more reasonable option is let's stripe it, right? So that way kids have a
and the
place to walk
flashing lights,
and a
yeah.
flashing sign that
Slow
says,
down.
yeah,
It's a crossing.
right.
Right, because shelters lead to other things too.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I struggled with was that, graffiti and things like that. So, and then you got trash.
And then you got the right of way with the cable and.
I think it's a really good place to smoke crack on the
Yeah.
right side too.
Another thing.
Okay.
It's not very impressive.
Well, if we're gonna have cheap locos down there as an undercover.
Yeah. Okay. So for now, I mean, what do
Yeah.
y'all think as far as, do we want to just start looking into the cost of
Start looking at the
striping?
Yeah, I think the striping and the lights.
Okay.
So we're gonna have some.
Well, I-
Down to like 10 miles an
Yeah,
hour.
let's look at striping.
Yeah.
And
Flashing.
the diamond shaped school crossing.
Mhm.
And I think we should put the solar powered yellow flashing lights on each one of those also.
Signs and striping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's be something to take a look at.
They
It's a
should
start.
know about doing that. I mean, they probably have done it before in other cities.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, really, when I talked to Mr. Udeshi, he's like, you're gonna talk to your city attorney about what you could spend it on. Because I told him, I said, we don't have crossguards.
Yeah.
I was like, so what can you recommend? Well, I really can't. So, like, all right.
You won't.
These bus stops, are they permanent bus stops?
So no bus stop is permanent. It can always change, right? But the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here have been annually, they've been there, right, for years.
Mhm.
So these bus stops are going to be here for years. Now, like Priest Road will always change because kids no longer live there, they move out, they grow up, they stop going, but these are main crossways that have had kids there historically year over year. So I get it, there may not be always 31 kids at Fawn Trail and Waterwood Pass,
Mhm.
but those 31 kids should technically ride it out through high school,
Mhm.
right? So it's gonna always be populated. It may not be 31, it may be now 15 or 20.
And the ones coming.
Yeah. So,
No, that's where
Okay.
I live.
I think that's a good.
so need a motion for that? To just kind of start,
Yeah, start looking.
But I don't think we need the motion to request our public works directly to gather some guides on striking design.
yeah, I'll talk
And
to Jess, just because he can talk to, or maybe I'll just talk to what, Texas Materials, right? They're the ones that did the striping on new methods. Was it Texas Materials?
yes, it was.
No,
but
It doesn't have to be that.
I'll be straight up honest.
Yeah.
I'll volunteer and go out
Yeah,
to paint it before.
spending that money. like-
Before
Mhm.
spending the money for Texas materials to come out and do the crosswalk.
Okay, all right.
But
We'll
not-
figure it
but
out.
not after
It
you
doesn't seem
go back.
appropriate, you know, like you said earlier. I'll just-
I think that was the place of maybe.
All right, all right, all right, all right. All right, bringing it back, bringing it back. Okay, going back to item 11A, discuss and or possible action on approving the 2024 holiday schedule. No new holidays were added. This is just an amendment to update the holidays for 2024.
Well, those holidays are already approved, so if we don't change it, I don't think we need to reapprove it.
We're just changing the dates, right? Because Martin Luther King Day doesn't always start
24.
on the 15th.
Same holiday, sir.
Still Martin Luther King Day.
But it is different day.
Still
Not-
Martin Luther King Day.
Up to y'all.
Okay,
Well, as-
heck, if we chief to make a motion, I move that we
Except
adopt the 2024 holiday schedule with appropriate changes to dates.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Coppendapper to adopt the holiday schedule with the date changes as presented. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed. All right,
Last year they came and half of these holidays showed up.
yeah. All right, moving along to item 11C. Discuss and or possible action on in-house payroll processing and ending said services with SAPs. I wish our city secretary had stayed with us to explain this, but I'll do the best I can. Over the last few weeks, there's been some issues with SAPs. I reached out to ADP and asked them, what they could offer. They basically can offer the same exact services as for the same amount of money that we're paying SAPs, and instead we're moving payroll in-house. So that way we control when it is submitted, we control any customer service issues, any issues that we have with our employees and their paychecks. The idea is to basically put our department heads responsible for the employees' time, and then either our city secretary or deputy clerk would be the approver. We could also look into like a punch-in clock,
Yeah.
a true punch-in clock, to where that time is registered and then directly linked to ADP. But for the basic services, it would almost be a dollar for dollar switch. And basically, the reason why I want to do it, or I thought about doing it, is because there were some issues with SAPs that I think were significant, and it put a little bit of worry into me about, who
The
we're
handling.
paying. Yeah, it's about the handling of our payroll. So that's the only reason why.
ADP
Is who we process payroll with, right?
is who we process, what service is SA pays
She's approving it.
providing.
She's approving it.
We give them numbers and they approve it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, let's take out the middleman.
Mhm.
100%.
I do mine, ADP.
Uh,
How much
You need a
they
motion?
charge us.
I need 'em. It's the same exact.
As far as the time clock, we don't discuss it now.
Yeah, the time clock, we don't have that yet. So that'll have to come at a later date, because that is more money.
Yeah.
So basically the city secretary is gathering up the hours, telling it to SA pays, and they say, yeah, okay, ADP pay it.
Yes, sir. I consulted with ADP.
So then those funds for
We
the,
just use it to pay ADP.
but we were paying ADP
We
before,
were paying SAPs.
but ADP has fees.
Right, and she pays
She pays.
ADP.
Oh, she was,
So she buys them in bulk, right? Because she does this for multiple
I
clients.
see. Under ADP,
Yeah, so her profit is off of the top of what she pays to
I
ADP.
see.
Do we need a motion for this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I move that we end services with SA pay and authorize the city
In-house.
secretary or deputy secretary to in-house approve hours to ADP.
I second.
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado to end said services with SA Pays and to, work directly with ADP. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. I will reach out to them tomorrow. Okay, so discuss enter, item D, discuss enter possible action on,
I'd like to request a 10-minute recess before we do any voting.
you don't want to go for the final stretch?
Sir, I request a 10-minute recess.
Oh,
Okay,
There's no-
10-minute recess. It's now 8:15. We are
and
adjourned
we paused,
and we paused.
paused for 10 minutes.
All right, the time is now 8:26. We are back in session. Okay, item 11D, discuss enter possible action on employing a third party to conduct a monthly bank account reconciliation. So the reason why this is brought up is because every year our independent audit firm recommends that we have a segregation of duties for our bank reconciliation compared to our QuickBooks. Currently, we do conduct this in-house. This would be additional service that we do have to take on or pay for rather. It does approximately cost about $500 to $600 a month, as I discussed with one firm. There could be multiple firms. We just got to reach out to them. But just wanted to bring it to the table, see if this is something that we want to take on and find some budget for it. So with that, I'll leave it up to y'all to discuss.
Isn't this something that our city secretary already does for us?
Correct. But it is a segregation of duties violation
Yeah.
because she not only enters the journal entries into QuickBooks, but then she also says they're right versus our
Right.
statement.
Yeah, we get
So-
docked on that every time.
Every year it is an issue. So yes, she does do it, but no, it's not right.
Okay.
So we want to make things right. So I think we should incur the expense because that's money well spent.
But I think we need to investigate the service, $500 a month.
Well, yeah, he was gonna,
Well, so I submitted it to one CPA agency, and they said based off of the number of transactions, that's approximately what they're going to charge.
for a transaction.
Say, as an alternate, rather than talk to a CPA, could we not talk to a simple bookkeeping service to reconcile
We could,
Monthly.
because a bookkeeper
it's not a CPA.
is way less than a CPA, and we are paying a CPA to do the annual audit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a problem with having an outside person reconciling monthly. But I don't think it requires the service of the CPA.
And
Okay.
is that allowed as far as, well,
Yeah, it's just an independent review.
Anybody.
Yeah. So I mean, a bookkeeping service
they're
would be
bonded.
sufficient. Yeah.
Just shop it around and see.
Okay. So I mean, if that is something that we're okay with, then we can certainly shop it around and find a bookkeeping service.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Find someone for us.
All right, so I do believe that would need a motion just so that way I can, because it is gonna cause, amendments to our budget. It is gonna be something we do have to request for a proposal.
we're supposed to be doing.
And we're supposed to be doing it, yeah.
I don't think we need motion.
You don't think so?
To
To
investigate.
research.
Okay.
And then bring it for,
We will need a motion to adjust the budget and approve the service.
Okay, then I will go ahead and move forward and look into that.
okay.
Okay. All right, next item, item E. We don't have the city's fee schedule with us at this time, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull item 11E.
Just out of curiosity, when's the last time it was updated? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Okay, discuss any possible action on a resolution to obligate additional ARPA funds. Yeah, so the reason this got brought up is because last year we did have a service where we were building, ramps, additions to homes that were part of, community improvement projects.
Mhm.
I believe the funds did not expire, but we ran out of funds in that bucket. And there was one final project, right? Well, there's one final project that was approved very early on in the year. However, we did try to send them over to Merced.
Oh,
Merced did decline them, but upon talking with the homeowner and with Alderman Fillinger, it wasn't approved in time. Like I said, we didn't have enough money for it. So what we're trying to do is basically obligate just that amount of money to close it out because it is a significant need. The person does meet all the qualifications. Charles, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
I disagree with the notion that all the funds were expended.
Yeah.
However, I would. Do we have a resolution available?
Yeah, I think so.
If I don't have the amounts, because I don't know the amount that was supposed to be allocated.
Only $3
That is
million.
needed.
I have the amount right here. I can get the actual amount.
$7,125.
So you need a motion.
Yeah, I'm just gonna confirm that amount.
Nice.
$7,125 is the amount.
Oh, not see.
No. Save it.
All right, so we do need a motion. We do
Okay,
have a resolution.
I move to adopt a resolution number 2023-138, a resolution of the city council of the city of San Diego.
138 or
188.
188?
Yeah, 188.
Hold nothing now.
Application, American Rescue Plan Act Fund from the Department of the Treasury, inserting $7,125 into section 2 of the resolution.
Now, second.
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado to accept resolution number 2023-188, inserting the amount of $7,125 for the purpose of supporting the COVID-19 public health and economic response. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Thank you. Updates and announcements from Public Works Director Priscilla Schmidt with possible discussion and or action. Ms. Schmidt, you have the floor. No updates. Thank you. Discuss and or possible action on renovating portion of the park for a baseball field. So I reached out to just a vendor just to get an idea of what it would cost to make our baseball field a legitimate little league baseball field. Their initial thought was $70,000. So the reason why I bring it up is, we have ARPA funds. It is for the children that are around here. Just the idea, but it's up for discussion.
70,000 for Martha, why don't we fix the playground? I mean, it's an eyesore, I think. We haven't done anything with it. And you said it was 100,000, so 70,000 goes a long way.
We'd have to get this to see, and I think the playground would be considerably more than
Yeah.
100,000.
And, I mean, a baseball field would be nice, but which one would be utilized
I
more
think the utilization would be more for the playground but
than
because
100,000?
no, utilization of the playground
utilization.
would be more. When we tried to do a little bit for the baseball field before, several years ago, we could not get anybody interested. And as I was telling the mayor before, that was during the pandemic. So that might have had something to do with it. We reached out even into San Antonio to see if we could get a league going, but of course, nobody was interested. And so,
And to be fair, at that time, there was no lighting and things
Right,
like
and
that we
so-
have now.
yeah.
Right.
The
Well-
the other part of it is $70,000 is gonna give us a daylight baseball field. That's not gonna include lighting or any ability to play night games.
And that's the thing that, I mean, we have the playground that has been on the schedule, that has never been attended.
And there's a lot more that has to be done. We have that differential in the playground where we have to repair that
Elevation.
because it's a danger. because-
Right.
Actually, sir, it would be more well, let's not talk playground.
Yeah.
Let's talk about.
Just
Yeah.
vote down the
I'm just
baseball
saying,
field.
Do
Let's
we
get
want
at
to
it.
proceed with renovating baseball field?
No,
With my recommendation, we don't have to have a motion or even do anything with this. My recommendation would be to not follow up with any further action unless we can
Get some
interest,
nature.
unless we can interest the county into co-funding any work done out there. Because if they're having a baseball field, it's gonna have to be an area-wide facility. So my thought is, but let's not put a whole lot more effort into it. $70,000 tells me we don't have the
It can
public
wait.
interest here for it.
So we do get county funds. We're gonna get a baseball field.
maybe.
If we can get the county to,
Well, if I'm gonna be searching for this money, then I wanna do baseball field.
and that's fine. And if you
As
wanna
long
have a
as it's
car
a
show,
coach.
put together a car show.
Yeah.
If you wanna have a big Fourth of July, I mean,
I want a playground.
I'm not opposed to
Go find the
anything,
money.
but,
Green.
but I am
Yeah.
opposed
I went to the
to
Somerset thing.
using city funds for a baseball field that won't be
Yeah,
utilized.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
So that's my consideration.
You know what they say, if you build it, they.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
You can rent it out. Okay, no worries. Like I said, it was just additional
It
thought.
was just there.
Okay. Did you want to talk about the car show?
Sure, we'll do it real quick.
Okay. Jump into item 10E.
It is feasible. That's the question on 10E. Is it feasible for us to do a car show? Yes. Can we do it at a minimal expense? Absolutely. We had this discussion once before, trying to have an outside promoter. On the first car show we did, that's exactly what we were going for. Unfortunately, they came away. So Mike and I picked it up, me and the mayor did. We ran with it, put it together. Should we do it again? Yes. But like I said last time, I think we should put more money to it, not to exceed $5,000 for advertising, things of that nature.
Well, now you know what you're up against, right?
That's why.
Mhm.
But it's also like we were talking on this next car show, we actually wanted to make money for the city. We have a plan, we being myself and the mayor, we discussed it. Where if people want a car show where they get prizes, they're gonna pay an entry fee for their shows. The problem with promoters, and this is something that we ran into, they want to make a lot of money on the car show. Which means they want to charge us for going to the car show. They want to charge us for showing off a car, even on what's called a show and shine. For us to do it ourselves. And right now, as an older man, I'm happy to do it myself.
Right.
We can set it up to where citizens can come in like they did on our first car show. They don't have to pay a gate fee.
Right.
The only people that would pay any type of fee are going to be the people participating in the car show where we have judges and things of that nature.
What's your second try?
Second year for it.
But I for one, would like to see a written plan and program.
Okay, so I'll put you together.
Including budget
Proposal.
proposal.
Okay, I'll do you one. But like I said, on 10E, it's just the idea. Is it feasible? The answer is yes.
Anything's feasible as long as we're going to do the work on it.
Yep. So, yeah, I'll put something together for us, Charles.
Thank you.
Now
Okay,
let's move on to item number 13. All in favor? Aye.
it's now 8:41. We are adjourned.
I'm gonna be rehoming some goats.